Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening, I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. Yes, I was so on time tonight, I got my introduction out of order. Oh well, moving along. Yes, it is the last stream of May, and that means the goal meter will change next month. So the coffee link is in the description. And who do we have in the chat? We have Jack68K, who is first. We have Kibbs with Retro, who is second. We have Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, who is third. And then people stopped counting. We have Francois must sleep. Well, hello, Francois. We have Jeremy's Vintage Showbilly Shack. Hi, Jeremy. We have Gut Bomb. Hi, Jason. We have Jeremy commenting that I'm not just in time. He's just on time tonight. Well, I can be on time sometimes. We have I8386SX. Hi, Jesse. He's here barely. All right. Well, barely is better than not present. So, yes, I was trying to be on time because I don't know how long we'll need for the IBM Portable Personal Computer. Jack, oh, thank you, Jack. Jack says, we love you on time or just in time. Yes. I have to say, Jeremy's comment made me wish I had a button that would, like, fake restart and then do a psych on the... But that would take too much work. All right. Oh, Jesse says I was up since 4:36 a.m. Central for context. Well, that is definitely some good context. All right, so I have the IBM Portable Personal Computer barely on the workbench, and I barely avoided knocking over my isopropyl alcohol, so let me move that. Let me set the keyboard off to the side, keep it safe, because I'm not doing anything to it tonight. And Jeremy was just about to get himself a ham and cheese sandwich. Yes. Well, those sandwiches are very important. So let's see here. Any other announcements? Did I hear you start to say that you don't think the IBM is going to take the whole stream? Yeah, that might be a falsehood. I might have just told a big fat lie. Yes, you all probably are fact checking, saying fact check, false. Jack says the vintage can't be rushed. Well, the thing is, it's not a repair because I don't have the parts I need, because I need to get the person that I'm repairing this for a cost, and to do that I need to figure out what I need. Oh, hi Frank, welcome. Jesse says 911 and the sheriff needed work done at 6 a.m. Well, when the emergency dispatch and sheriff needs work done at 6 a.m., well, by golly, you get up at 4:30 a.m. Yes. All right. Jeremy says he didn't think the IBM would take the entire stream. He may have jinxed himself. Yeah, I might have. In 3 hours. Yeah, we're only partway through the listing all the caps I need, and it's time for me to go to bed because I got to work tomorrow. Kib says it's an IBM. It's going to blow enough tantalums to keep us entertained the whole stream. Well, actually, last time I had it on the bench, I removed the tantalum because it was shorted. it's quite possible there's another shorted one by now. So, all right. So on my bench, I have not one but two sets of screwdrivers. I have the Quinn Tools one that RetroTech Die sent me, and I have the iFixit one that I bought using money that I got paid for uh, copying data off the same coworker's other computer. Although I paid a bit more for this set than they paid me. But anyways, their payment went to paying for a good portion of this nice. I decided to get the nicer iFixit set since I had money and incentive. But then I got this one. So I'm going to see how far we can get with an IBM with the Quinn set, so we can know just how vintage friendly it is. But I do have the iFixit set as backup, so that I don't have to go upstairs to get it if I find a screw that the Quinn set doesn't have the bit for. But yes, they're both nice screwdriver sets. This one is definitely the budget-friendly price. In fact, I think you can get two of these sets, or about two of these sets, for the price of one of the equivalent iFixit set. And then Kib says, iFixit, bits I will never use. Yeah. I don't know what the smaller set's named. I'd have to go look on their website. All right, so we are going to see how far I can get with this set. And that's first going to require me to figure out what size the screws are on the front. It's not that size. Of course, IBM. Oh, there we go. Excellent. All right. Jesse says, I thought it was an IBM table at first. Yeah, the IBM is covering the entire workbench right now, yes. And it will continue to consume a large portion of the workbench. It's just, right now, the view is kind of bland. And I've set the screwdriver set on top of it to keep the camera from, like, focus hunting, because there's not much contrast at the moment. I think the situation will change once I get the cover off. Imagine if I would turn my workbench into a 5155. Well, now, if someone wanted to donate a 5155 to the channel, I would be all for it. Because this one is not mine, and I do have to eventually give it back, hopefully in a repaired state, because I definitely would not mind being able to get another live stream out of it. But, well, even if the repair cost is declined, well, we'll at least had a little fun with it, hopefully. It's also possible I might be able to, even if the repair is declined, I might be able to get maybe a little bit more time with it. But even not, of course, a 5150 would also be neat. I mean, I don't necessarily need the whole built-in monitor deal. It's just we used to have a 5155 at some point. All right. So I've got the 6 screws out of the front. Oh, there we go. And the cover is free. There we go. And now we have, oh, you'll never guess what we have now. we have more screws. Because this is IBM, so of course there's more screws. And I've turned it this way so that I can hopefully get to the part that I need to inspect a little better. Yeah, let's see here. How far back in history do I fancy vintage computers? Um, Probably not much before 1980, with few exceptions. I mean, obviously, I like the Apple II series, and those were coming out in like 77, 78, 79. But I mean, those lasted well through the 90s, so they count. I mean, I might like to play with some of those early mid 70s machines, but I don't know that I'd necessarily want to own them. Those are kind of more ones that if I had the opportunity to get to use it, I would that would be more than more than satisfying. Oh, hi Will, welcome. Although granted I might use some of those and then realize I really like them and would want to use them, but at the moment some of those machines if I just got the chance to use it, that would be cool enough. Commodore PET. Well, believe it or not, the Commodore PET is kind of not really that high on my list. Gibbs asks Centurion. I'll let Usagi Electric have the monopoly on Centurions. Yeah, Commodore Pets are kind of not really. I mean, sure, they were still around in the early to mid '80s, but they're kind of the when I think of Commodore PET, I'm like thinking, I think I'd rather have maybe a VIC 20 or maybe a slightly later Commodore. Oh, that's right. Shelby has a Centurion too. That's right. Yes. Oh, and hi, Steve. Welcome. Yeep. So, Steve is about to hit a milestone on his channel. He is really close to 20,000 subscribers. So, congratulations in advance, Steve. That is a significant accomplishment. And Steve says, subscribe and Justin will buy you all ice cream. Yeah, you'll just have to pay a separate shipping and processing fee that will conveniently pay for the ice cream and dry ice and foam packing materials and the profit margin of one of those TV sales organizations. What about getting a Cray computer? No, I probably won't get a Cray. Crays belong in a museum. Oh, hey, Sad Mac 356. Welcome. Yeah, I think I remember Steve when he had somewhere between like 2 and 4,000 subscribers as well. That was not that long ago in YouTube history time periods. All right, there we go. We got the first shield off. So now I can see the CGA card, even though this has a black and white monitor. But I needed to get that shield off to remove the next shield. And I need to remove that shield so that I can get the power supply cover off. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can get the power supply cover off now. Let me try that. All right. So, last time I had this open, I could not get the power supply cover off because the security bit that came with my Harbor Freight security bit set that was the right size had the hole in the center drilled in the wrong spot. So the security bit was absolutely worthless. Except if you didn't need a security bit, then it would have been totally serviceable. But luckily, this Quinn set, the security bit fits. Yes. All right, and we've got. Oh, here I am putting the security bit away too soon because it looks like I got fooled. It's off screen, but there are two security bits and one non-security bit holding the top of the power supply on. Also, this is the time for the customary. If you don't know what you're doing, don't meddle inside of power supplies and CRTs. Normally, I only have to give one or the other warning because normally I'm either working on a power supply or a CRT. Well, guess what? Tonight I'm effectively working on both. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't mess around inside of them. There are high voltages inside. So therefore, leave if you aren't comfortable working around high voltages or you don't know what you're doing, leave it to someone who does know what they're doing. I have high voltage training as part of my job, so I understand what could be lurking around inside of here. And if there ever were a case where I saw something and I thought it warranted a question to someone who knew what they were doing because it didn't look right, well, by golly, you better believe I would be asking them a question. So, there we go. Covered the don't mess with what you don't know. Yeah, yeah, or as Kib, yeah, and as Kibbs has accurately described, remove a shield to remove a shield to remove a shield to remove a shield to remove a shield. Yeah, that's what I feel like. So it looks like I do have to remove the shield over the CRT to get the cover on the power supply off. I was kind of hoping that wasn't the case, but well. Also, this computer has not been powered up for at least a month, so I'm not too worried about capacitors holding a charge. Oh, and I bet this. Oh, I bet this other side of the shield. Oh, that's fun. I bet the other side of the shield is screwed in where I can't see it. Great. All right. Well, maybe that's off enough so that I can actually get the cover off the power supply. Maybe. Or maybe not. Oh, okay. I think there might be two screws on the back of the power supply that also need to be removed. Just be able to slide, because I think I need to slide the power supply back. So maybe that CRT cover was not what I needed to remove. Maybe it's these two screws on the back of the power supply. Yes, the answer is not off enough. Because if you're wondering, did I look at the iFixit guide for this computer? The answer would be no. I don't even know if there is one because I haven't looked at it. Didn't look for one. All right. Oh, well, that's just the back cover on the. No, that's not the back cover. Nope, those were the wrong two screws to remove. Oh, well, let me remove another screw here. I think I get the impression IBM did not want you to mess around with this computer. Okay, so that. Oh, thank you, Will. All right. Trying to raise the May tips. Yes, thank you, Will. Because I may or may not have bought a potential Wheel of Regrets entry today. You know, I think IBM designed this power supply such that it would flummox anyone that attempted to remove it. The one thing I wanted to do. Oh, okay. I need to actually remove the whole power supply. That's the problem. There must be more screws holding it in. Oh, hey, Retrotech Chris. Welcome. So please tell me those are screws and not rivets. I guess there's one way to find out. Oh, good. That's a screw. So there's like four screws on the bottom of the power supply, and something tells me those need to come out. And maybe I can get the power supply forward enough to get the cover off. Because I want to check the caps in it. I realize that a lot of these early power supplies were made really well. So it's quite possible this power supply doesn't need anything done to it. But on the same token, there's also always the chance that this machine was like stored somewhere that might have affected the capacitors in the power supply in some negative way. So even though maybe it usually doesn't require a recapping, that maybe this one does. All right, so I've managed to pull the power supply forward slightly, and there's a metal shield on it that seems to be holding the power supply up, or cover. Hmm. All right. Uh-oh. Let's see here. I missed a whole bunch of chats here. Jeremy says Walmart gift cards would probably be better and probably cheaper. Yeah, than buying everyone ice cream. Well, yeah, there'd still be a separate shipping and processing fee, though, Jeremy. Yeah, $10 Walmart gift card to buy you ice cream for only $20. What a bargain! It's that extra processing and handling fee. Somehow I have to pay for getting to Walmart. And Jeremy says, and $25 for California residents because it's so darn expensive there. Funny. Yeah, and I'd have to put a Proposition 65 warning on the gift card too, because it probably contains something known to the state of California to cause cancer. Corrector Tech Chris says the obsolete geek gave me a compact portable too, which scratched the itch of wanting a 5155. Yep. Gibbs is now the proud owner of 7 kittens. Cool. I would presume. Chris's PS2 Model 70 is sitting in pieces right now. Ordered a spare motherboard on eBay. It's not in great shape. Oh, hold on. I think I'm trying to catch up on chat because I think I missed. Oh, hi, Mike. Yeah, it's Mike's Mess. Yeah, don't open that door. It says so on the sticker. Yes, indeed. That the red wire Jack says. That. Yes, he just ate a half a pint of ice cream. Delicious. All right. If I can. Oh, there we go. Now that. Oh, now maybe I can figure out how this metal cover on the side of the power supply comes off, so I can like get in it and inspect it. And let me guess. I first have to unplug all the power leads. Oh, all the power leads. Yeah. Oh boy, is that going to be fun. And I realize you can't see a single thing I'm doing because of the angles, but oh, here we go. All right. So I am looking in the power supply, and unfortunately, I cannot zoom out far enough to. Well, I guess I could droid cam, but I need the flashlight. I don't think I can open it enough to actually really give you a good look. Okay, so I'm looking inside of it. The first thing I'm noticing is there are no refa capacitors. The second thing I'm noticing is all the capacitors do appear to be in good condition. I'm not seeing any signs on the PCB of leaks. I believe most of the capacitors are name brand. Oh, thank you, Dave. $10 super chat for more tools. Yeep. Yes, super chats. I mean, I see some caps that are like green and blue. I can't see the brands of some of them, but some of these I think are like Nichicon and Rubicon. So it looks like IBM really did spec some quality capacitors in this power supply. So I think, given the good shape of the power supply, and let me see if I can, now that I've looked in it, let me see if I can get Droid Cam up. I still haven't had a chance to install the Droid Cam plugin, but I can screen share. All right. And let's see here. There we go. And yep. Okay. That's exactly what I thought it was going to do. And that was when I figured it was going to turn the light off when I went to Droid Cam. And all right. Well, I guess I'll at least still give you what view I can of it. Oh, thank you, Jesse. $4.99 super chat. Yeep. All right, give Harbor Freight more money or whoever you want. Awesome. All right, screen share. Unfortunately, this is, even if I had the Droid Cam plugin to give you high definition video, it doesn't appear as if I can actually turn the light on in Droid Cam. And unfortunately, I misplaced my flash. I misplaced one of my flashlights, and the other one is upstairs because the other day the power was like flickering all really badly. There was a storm that rolled through Sunday night, and I took the flashlight upstairs because I thought the power was going to go off at any moment. It was like it was like super windy and rainy and stormy, and my lights were flickering like every 3 seconds for minutes. Yeah, Mike says, uh, not sure what you're up to, but almost guarantee that the power supply isn't the problem. I am refurbing this. Oh, thank you, Jack. More tools tip. Yay. Yeep. Yeah, Mike, what I'm doing is I had a coworker that asked me to get this computer operational. And one of the things I wanted to do was just inspect it. Oh, there we go. I think the it's kind of auto balance. Anyways, that's the power supply. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I didn't have any reason to believe there was anything wrong with it, but I did want to at least make sure that there was no REFA safety cap in it. Because the last thing I want to do is like give the computer back to them and then the REFA goes. So, anyways, I believe the power supply is fine. I don't see any signs that the caps are going. Oh, it powers up now. There was a bad cap on the main board. So, but I did want to inspect the power supply. I have now inspected the power supply, and now I get the fun of putting the power supply back in place. I was mainly wanting to just make sure there wasn't a REFA cap in it. So really, the only thing I'm going to probably recommend doing to this, other than I'm going to have to clean the exterior case, um, is I'm going to recommend that we replace all the tantalums on the main board, especially the one that I already removed because it was shorted. And I guess replace the tantalums on the CGA card as well, because they're all those three-legged tantalums that IBM was so famous for using. And we'll probably check the floppy drives too. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think, all that needs done is just replace the tantalums because those are known to be problematic. And quite honestly, I can't guarantee that more of the original ones wouldn't short. So, so really, I think all it needs is a cleaning and tantalums replaced. But I did want to inspect it. And I did, and now you get to hear me struggle about putting the cover back on the power supply. All right. Oh yeah, now that I flexed the power supply to make it easier to get to, well, now it doesn't want to. There we go. The cover was being stubborn. All right. Yes, don't unscrew anything you're not willing to have to dork with for 30 minutes to get it seated again. Ah, okay. Mike says that IBM wasn't a big user of the REFA caps. on the older machines. They didn't start with those until the PS2 era, and even then, it depends on who made the PSU. Ah, that is very good to know. Well, anyways, I have confirmed that this power supply is in good shape, and I would have no qualms of. Yeah, I wasn't just going to recap the power supply just because I know a lot of these older power supplies have really good caps in them. I think as I saw in a Facebook group as someone was explaining it, it was from the era when they knew how to make capacitors. So I will totally not replace capacitors made when they knew how to make capacitors. But I will have to count how many tantalums I need for the main board and the CGA card because those are more likely to cause a problem. All right, there's those screws. Yeah, I would say, given the history of this machine, that it was probably used quite a lot for a couple years, but then its usage probably dropped off because my coworker did use this computer in college, I believe she said. So during college, I suspect that she would have used it quite a bit. But then after college, I mean, the usage would have started to drop off, I would say, because at some point she would have probably upgraded to a faster machine. Given that there's a math coprocessor that was installed in this machine, probably due to I don't know what degree program she went through, but I suspect it was some engineering program. So I would suspect the math coprocessor got installed for that curriculum, and it kind of tells me that after college it probably would have been upgraded soon after. Would be my guess. All right, good night, Frank. I mean, might have still gotten some occasional use because it would have been a portable machine. But the other thing is, what she wants to do is, I think she wanted to let her kids be able to play some of the classic vintage games on it. So in reality, it's not going to get a lot of use for. Good morning, toilet person. Yes, good morning. Yes. All right. So, anyways, given the likely usage patterns after she gets it back, and the fact that it would have been, used quite a bit for college, but then usage patterns dropping off, I think that tells me that the caps that are in the power supply will be good for, I mean, long enough that I don't need to risk recapping the power supply this time around. Besides, I'll let her know that right now it would be riskier to recap the power supply than it would be beneficial. But if at any point she thinks the power supply is showing signs that the capacitor's gone bad, I mean, I won't charge as much to take a second look at it, because it'd probably be pretty obvious that its power supply needs caps. So, oh, hi, Rudy. Welcome. No, actually, I was just checking to make sure there wasn't a RIFA cap, and after confirming that IBM did not use RIFAs on this computer, I'm putting the power supply back together so that I don't lose screws. And I seemingly already have. Did I put all the screws back? Yeah, I did. Oh, okay, I did. All right. Inevitably, I'm going to have extra screws on at some point on something. so, anyways, I think. So, actually, Rudy, the exact thing I'm doing is I wanted to finish inspecting the machine so I could give my coworker a repair quote. Because last time around, I I got the inspection of the motherboard done, removed the shorted cap, and we powered it up and confirmed that it works. Although I haven't done anything with the floppies. I think I let it boot into basic. So tonight I wanted to just inspect the power supply. As Kibbs is now joking, adding a shield to add a shield to add a shield to add a shield. Yeah. Well, I don't need to put all the shields back right away, fortunately. So now that I've inspected the power supply, I confirmed that it's in good shape. And when I could see the analog board, it looks to be in good shape. So I'm going to recommend not doing anything to those at the time, just because the risk doesn't outweigh the benefits at the moment. We don't need no stinking shields here. So I think I'm now going to pull the add-on board so that I can count the number of tantalum kits or tantalum caps that I need. Because interestingly enough, I sure thought Console 5, I was like, for sure, Console 5 is going to have a tantalum cap kit for this IBM computer. And no, they don't. I mean, I think they sell the tantalum cap I need as an individual part, but they don't have a cap kit for these IBM computers. Rudy says shields are only for Captain America or Captain Kirk. Wait a minute, Jesse. Captain Kirk was known to not use shields when he needed them. Jesse also says IBM was in cahoots with Big Shield. Yeah. I think IBM was trying to keep the steel industry in business. Because they certainly put enough steel in here to keep them in business. K-Max says, get the info and send it to them. They build a kit, and then we'll have it for others in the future. Okay. Yeah, I'll get them the info. Because that would certainly be handy to have a cap kit for these IBM computers. Mike says, if you leave the shields out of the 5155, you can shed about 1.23 tons of weight. Yeah, seriously. Kim says IBM is the sole reason why sheet metal industries were booming. Yes, um, I'm pretty sure that yes, IBM may have single handedly kept Bethlehem Steel in business as long as they did, and some of the other Pennsylvania steel companies too. Rudy says you should see all the shields that are in an Osborne. But wait, the next Osborne will be 50% lighter and twice as fast. Yeah. Mike says the stock in U.S. steel dropped badly in 1987 thanks to IBM changing to plastic. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. It's about the truth. All right, so this computer has a parallel add-on card. I do not believe this is original because this does not look like an IBM part. I mean, oh, no, it's not. It's a DTK part. There we go. So it looks like he added a parallel or had someone add a parallel port card at some point. Makes sense because if you're using this for school, you need to print. So that definitely makes sense. It's also kind of odd that IBM didn't include a parallel port, but then again, I guess they thought if you're using it as a portable, you're not going to be printing. Yeah, there's more steel in this than new cars. Yeah, that's about the truth. All right, and we have, I believe this is an IBM floppy controller, and I believe that those are all ceramic caps on it, so that should be good. Yeah. Oh no, there are two tantalums right there and there. Yep, those are definitely tantalums. Okay, so it's got two tantalums, and the rest are ceramics. So let me see if I can read the numbers on the tantalums. I think they are 10616. Oh yeah, these are all the what the 10 microfarad 16-volt caps that IBM was so famous for using. So all right, let me take a picture of the number of caps. Yeah. Okay. So there's oh, Mike says parallel wasn't established as a de facto standard for PC printers until about 85 or 86 ish. Ah, that okay, that would make sense. Yes. So there might have actually been a serial card in this computer at some point, potentially, and it got swapped out for a parallel card. Or maybe that was just an option because IBM didn't know what kind of printer you were going to want to use. Mike says even the serial card was an option. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Jeremy says, I don't think I'll ever get the privilege of tinkering with an Osborne. Too expensive and not exactly in my wheelhouse. I don't know that I would want to tinker with an Osborne because the screen is so small. I'd need one of those magnifying headsets to be able to read it. All right. I will commend IBM on their placement of this card here that makes it really hard to get it out because I know this card has a number of tantalum caps on it. In fact, I believe this card has no less than I'm going to have to zoom out. This is an actual IBM CGA card, folks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 little tantalum caps. Ah. And I bet they are all. Yep. I think all the tantalum caps are the same value. Did IBM get a bulk discount on 10 microfarad 16-volt tantalum caps? Because Mike says Osborne one screen actually isn't that terrible to read, but it's not 80 columns wide either. I think it's 32. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought they were 80 columns for some reason. Rudy says Osborne or a royal pain to work on. I just refused working on 2 of them last week. Jeremy would prefer to use an Osborne in a modular fashion, separate box for the computer for the monitor. We need a telescope to see the text on the screen. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's. So the floppy. Oh, caps for 5155. Looks like they're 10 microfarad, 16-volt. Although I'm going up to 25-volt for these caps. Floppy controller had 2. All right, CGA card had 7. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. And the reason I'm gonna go up to 25-volt is because for a solid tantalum cap, that's actually the um, solid tantalum caps are rated at their max voltage. So in reality, to cover spikes, it's the rule of thumb is to double the working voltage for a solid tantalum. So that would mean IBM really should have used a 25-volt tantalum cap if those are solid tantalums, and I believe they are. For a polymer tantalum, I think you can get away with like an extra 80% of the working voltage because it has to do with the way they rate them. Now, electrolytic caps are rated at their working voltage. So you don't have to like derate them near as much as as a tantalum cap. Although it's still not a good idea to use a 5-volt cap on a 5-volt rail. Um, but you can get away with a much smaller derating on an electrolytic cap. So, like for an electrolytic, a 16-volt cap on a 12-volt rail would probably be fine. And so, I suspect what IBM did when they designed this is whoever put these caps here probably used the same value tantalum that you would an electrolytic. Mike says those caps are usually on the 5-volt rail. Okay, well, if they're on the 5-volt rail, then 16 volts is definitely more than enough. But if they're on the 12-volt rail, then they probably should have used a 25-volt rail or 25-volt cap. Actually, it might behoove me to. I mean, it might behoove me to check which are which. But I'm also tempted. Actually, I think I've got one of these CGA cards. I don't know that I need to do that like right now, but All right. I also noticed something about this CGA card that is a bit concerning. Yeah, I'm probably just going to replace them all because that's the safest thing to do. The RAM is a very high quality RAM on this board, though. I don't know that I can. Yeah, they're more. These are MOSTEC RAMs. Well, this is a case where I'm going to probably recommend not proactively replacing them because they may totally be fine. Although they are 4116s. All right. Okay. And I guess for the logic board or motherboard or planar, because this is an IBM, so that one's going to be the fun one to count. Yeah, Jeremy says, and MOSTEC is almost as bad as MT. Yeah, card does work though, so all right. Well, let me at least take a picture of what the memory chips are so that I can at least look up what type of chips they are. Because yeah, those are. Rudy, uh, the reason why I'm going to replace the tantalum caps in this computer, one of them actually did go bad. It's been removed but not replaced. It's because the caps in these IBMs are notorious for just giving up the ghost. And my coworker wanted this to be like like, enjoyable. I guess would be a good way of putting it. So I was going to I guess kind of following the lead of several YouTubers, including um, Epitronics, Epictronics, I think it is. Yeah, I believe there is a C in his name. Yeah, Epictronics. I was going to recommend proactively replacing the tantalum caps, just because they can go short at a moment's notice. They they can they could cause damage when they go. Although generally, I think these don't. I think they more just like create a smoke and smell problem, but they could cause damage. Probably, I realize low likelihood of that given the size of these caps and the voltages they're running at. Oh, Rudy, this is not my computer. This is someone else's computer. If this was my computer, I would probably be less likely to just replace them all. However, my coworker would like this to be enjoyable by their kids, and I don't think a tantalum cap going bang in the middle of the night is enjoyable. So, yeah, if this was my computer, I would probably be maybe a bit more judicious over what I proactively replaced. I would probably sit down and actually figure out which tantalums were on the 12-volt rail and only replace those if it was mine. Given the one of the 12-volt tantalums already shorted. Mike says there are 13 caps on the 5160 motherboard that should be replaced. Is the 5160 the same board that's in the 5155? Yeah, I guess it is. Because it's basically the XT 256K system board, isn't it? And yeah, that I think that actually sounds like the right number. So let's see, there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I'm going to need to pull this board out because there's a different one. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I need to pull the board out because one of the caps is not the same as the others. So yeah, they just shoved an XP in the portable. Yep, that's what I thought. All right. Okay. I'm gonna actually pull the system board out so I can confirm tantalum sizes. Because one of them, I thought they were all the same orange 10 microfarad, 16 volt. Oh, there is a picture. Oh, excellent. Ooh, if there is a picture, then let me do something here. Because if you happen to have that picture, I will enable you to be able to. Oh, wait, actually, Mike, you might actually be able to share a link. Let me double check. Let's see here. Missions. Oh, community. Okay. Yep, Mike, you are in my approved users list. So if you did have a link for the picture, I think that means you can put it in the chat. All right. Good night, Rudy. Or I can search it if you didn't have it handy. All right. Let's see if I can XT. All right. I am searching. I think at one point I tried searching for the IBM XT capacitor list, and that did not give me what I wanted. Oh, that's the. Oh, okay. Let me fix that, Mike. All right. The description of approved users is like. Let's see here. All right, give that a try, Mike. I think now it should be fixed. There we go. All right, thank you. Ah, there we go. Yes, minus 0 degrees for the win. 13 tantalum capacitors on 5-volt line. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I think there are a few more tantalums than that. think that's the 5-volt caps. All right. Whoops. But that's close. I think I can see in that picture the almost see all the caps on it. Oh, minus 5-volt caps plus. All right. There are two more on the 12 and negative 12 volt. Okay. Yeah, all the little tiny ones don't need to be replaced. Yep. There's one. Yep, I see the two that are not here. And actually, one of the ones that's not on this picture is the one I had to remove. So we need 15. So I need 15 total. Awesome. That'll save me from removing the motherboard tonight. I'll get to defer that fun until I actually need to recap it, which I will not complain one bit about that. As you can see, there's our lovely 8087. And for anyone wondering, it is just the standard 8087. So this computer was not like, didn't have a higher tier 8087 installed that could operate faster. So, all right. I guess the one last thing I need to check is the floppy drives, because these are, actually, these might not be tandons. Oh, these are Cume, Quume, Cume drives. Interesting. Yeah, Mike says the little tiny ones are ceramic caps and really never fail unless there's a short. Yep, I would agree. Ceramic caps are probably, if caps are replaced, ceramic caps are the ones I am least likely to have to replace. And yeah, it's usually either because something shorted, or more often for me at least, something got rammed into it and broke one of the legs. Just trying to look on the floppy drive to see if I see any tantalum caps on it. And I think I see that there is one. Probably means I should. Oh, these floppy drives, they did not make them easy to remove. Of course. Where would have been the fun in that? All right, well, if I can maybe find a wrench, then I think I can pull one of the drives without having to actually remove a bunch of stuff. Mike says nothing on this machine is easy to remove except the ISA cards. Yeah. This wrench might be. wrench might be too big. Yeah, I think this wrench is too big. Yeah, that's definitely not turning it. Because of course they didn't use like a slotted or a Phillips screwdriver, because then I could just very easily use my. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think this Quinn set might actually. Mike says, I love IBM computers, but in terms of portable XT class machines, the compact was far superior. Oh, hey, Thomas. Welcome. I would agree, Mike. I think I think compact really did nail it out of the park with their portable. Here we go. Yet another. So I think these floppy drives actually are using a. They're not using a Phillips or flat bladed, but I did find a bit in the Quinn set. And the Quinn has the nice flexible extender, so I think I might be able to get these screws. Oh, okay. Well, maybe it might exceed the capabilities of it, but okay. Too too far of a bend for it. 5150 was more portable. Well, the 5150 was sure easier for John Gleese to drop onto the floor and get a portable computer. All right. All right. Well, no, of course not. Of course. I sure thought if you removed these screws far enough that you would be able to get the floppy drive out. All right. Oh wait. I have a mini wrench set here. What's the chances it'll have the proper sized wrench in it? It's even a Craftsman. In fact, this might actually be the last Craftsman tool, by means of it being a set. Might be the last Craftsman tool I bought before our local Sears closed. Or last Craftsman tool I bought at our local Sears before it closed. Although I don't know if I bought any Craftsman tools since. Oh, there we go. There we go. 5.5 millimeter. I don't know if that's the actual dimension, but it fits. Of course, IBM would use half size. That, yeah, of course. remember why I bought this set. Although it might have come with a set of wrenches. Now that I think about it, a bigger set of wrenches. I was trying to put something together, and I think I was trying to put something together. I was having trouble finding the wrench that fit it, and by the time I got to Sears, to find that Sears had the wrench I needed in stock. I think Lowe's didn't have the one I needed for some reason. I think I looked at the cost of the set versus the cost of one wrench, and I was like, I'm just going to buy the set and be done with it. Oh, and let me guess, these floppy drives only go forward. All right, fine. I will remove the screws in their entirety, and then we'll see which direction the floppy drives want to go in. All right, while I do this, let's see here. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications so that when I actually do get to the repair of this computer, then we'll have more fun disassembling it again. Or, as Kibbs would put it, remove a shield to remove a shield to remove a shield to remove a shield. Eventually, replace a shield to replace a shield to replace a shield to replace a shield. And in the middle, do some tantalum replacing. Yeah, Thomas says I like the made in the U.S. craftsman. Oh, that might be why I bought the whole set. Because this does say tools made in USA, bag made in China. Yeah, so I think the wrench set I bought was one of their made in the USA wrench sets. I think that might have been the reason why I broke down. It was like what they wanted for the wrench I needed versus what they wanted for the set. I think the set might have been on sale or something. And then it was the made in the USA set, so it was the nice wrench set. And I just was like, oh, I'm just gonna buy the whole set. It was a decent set. I might have needed more than one wrench. Ah, hey, Any Bit Fever Dreams, welcome. I am removing screws that I might regret removing later. I don't want to check to make sure these floppy drives don't have tantalums. Some of them do, some of them don't. Of course, this will also let me inspect the condition of the one. These floppy drives. Oh, well, can these not be removed? Oh, there's a stopper. Oh, interesting. There appears to be a stopper in here. All right. Well, I don't know if it was a stopper or a spacer, but all right. It might have been a spacer. Okay. There we go. The drive bay does not come out from the bottom. In fact, this drive bay appears to be integral to the plastic bezel. But I got it, and now I can inspect it. Actually, I'm not so sure that the cap that I thought was a tantalum was a. Oh, it might be a tantalum. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's right. These are double-sided drives. Yeah. Okay. Guess I don't know why I was half expecting it to be a single-sided drive. So it looks like this might be a tantalum here. This red cap. Okay, Mike says, I don't think you really have to worry about these drives. The tandem ones do have issues, but these are the only ones that I know of. Yeah, I'm actually not that concerned about the drive. The I'd be more concerned about the rubber belt. I think the rubber belt's fine. The spindle seems to be moving now that I kind of started moving it. I think it'd be more risky to change that tantalum than it would be worth. Everything I would have to unmount. All right, I think now that I've inspected this and kind of had a chance to look at it, all right, this is definitely the first drive because I think that's the terminator, and there's no terminator on the second drive, which you can't see because I'm zoomed in too far. Thomas, Mike says IBM required a nylon rubber belt on their drives. I've never seen one fail without something else failing first. Thomas says, does the 12-volt or the 5-volt have a short, easy check? I don't believe so. Uh, the thing is, I've already had this on the channel. I guess on this a stream once, and we fixed the short. This is the I now had the screw I needed to be able to pop the cover off the power supply, and I wanted to inspect the rest so that I could figure out how many caps I needed to order. And I realized the power supply was likely fine because nothing had shorted. It had good voltages. Anyways, I just wanted to inspect it. Mike has seen exactly one break, and that's because the spindle was jammed and the spindle motor kept spinning and wore through the back. Ah, okay. Yeah, this floppy drive's fine. Definitely not a short on it. I'll check the other one. If they're fine, then I'm just gonna we won't bother. Oh yeah, that's fine. Most floppy drives I've seen have been fine. Yep, that one's fine too. Okay, I had a tandem that had a shorted tantalum cap on it, so it was in the K Pro I worked on last year. So this one is, I think these two drives are going to probably need heads cleaned. I think I'm going to attempt to find a head cleaning disc because I don't think I'm going to try to remove the other floppy drive. I think I'd rather just clean them in place if I can. Be quite handy. I've been meaning to try to find or a 5 1/4 inch cleaning disc or make one or something. Maybe this will be my excuse to just break down and do that so that I have one to use when I've got floppy drives that aren't exactly the easiest to get to. Oh, okay. These definitely were supposed to slide out from the back because I think I can now feel that, yeah, they push up flush against the front of the case. I don't think they will push through front. All right. These are probably the world's most useless plastic pieces, but then again, they might be here to keep you from tightening the screw too tightly and breaking the plastic. So I will humor IBM. Oh, I think I will also see that these might be the world's most difficult to install plastic spacers. There we go. Oh, let me guess. I bet those don't slide in until you put the drive back. Oh, well. Yeah, I think the belts on these are fine. They did feel like they're the good belts. I guess at least IBM did know what they were doing. I mean, it is kind of interesting to think about if they'd used the 68,000 instead of the 8088, but I mean, I know why they did it. They wanted to be able to source parts from more than one supplier. So, and at the time, Motorola did not have a second supplier for their processors. Now, that did eventually happen. Motorola did eventually also license the processor to a couple other manufacturers so that there was a second source, at least for a time, for I guess the 68,000. I don't know if Motorola continued it for like the for much past that because I know I've seen like Amigas that had different brand 68,000s. I think I've seen them from Centertech and a couple other companies. But it would be interesting to think what the IBM might have looked like if Motorola had a second source supplier when IBM was looking at processors for the platform. Because IBM could have. There are rumors that IBM kind of wanted to use the 68,000, although I don't know how badly they wanted to use it. But that was like, from what I've read, that was the main holdup was Motorola didn't have a second source. Yeah, the math coprocessor gave the business machine image of hand up for the PC. Yes. I mean, I don't know when Motorola came out with the math coprocessor. It'd be the 68881. It's also possible there may be multiple reasons why IBM didn't ultimately go for it because I don't know when Motorola had a math coprocessor. think I think I think Intel already had one. So yeah, that definitely was another advantage for Intel because Intel had a math coprocessor so that IBM could tell their business customers, yes, we can math for an extra fee. We can math faster. I'm kind of surprised desktop publishing didn't use math coprocessors more, but I guess for some of the early desktop publishing, I guess it was pretty much probably all integer based math to move things. guess at some point floating point doesn't give you much extra. Intel had co-processors for the 8080 and 8085. I really don't know if the spacer is required or not. It certainly doesn't want to go back in place. Oh, maybe I was maybe I was trying to slide it in too far. Yeah, that's the problem. Maybe I was just trying to push it in too far. Maybe it does only maybe it does only go to there. Putting it in upside down goes. I don't know. I think I might. Does not. Maybe it only just rests there. I don't know. Let me start to put the screw in. Since I don't need to actually do anything to the floppy drive other than clean it, I'm going to try to use a head cleaning disc. I'm going to go ahead and put the floppy drive back in. Okay, maybe that screw, maybe that standoff only goes that far. Okay, maybe maybe the main point of that is to just keep you from working the screw in too far, and I've got it in far enough to serve its primary purpose. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put it in. All right. Eh, all right. Oh, please, while I continue to fight with things that don't make sense. Oh, oh, there we go. Okay. Thomas says Intel 8231 and 8232 are the older FPU. I guess meanwhile, Apple's all like, I guess the very early Macs didn't even have the capability for a math coprocessor. Again, I don't know when Motorola released the 68881, and maybe the 68000 can't actually use it, although I thought it could. I thought the 68000 could use it. The 68881. And then the 68020, I think, can use. That might also be the 68881. The 6830, I think, uses the 68882. Maybe the 020 can use either. I don't know. I think there's one of the Motorola processors that can use either, and then pretty much the rest are one or the other. All right. All right, let me get these other two screws in. At least now that I know that I've got a wrench that fits. Google says 68881 was a 1984 intro. Okay, well then that would probably explain why the early Macintoshes probably didn't have the ability for a math coprocessor. Apple was designing them, and either they decided they didn't need it, or Motorola didn't have it ready. Because I mean, they launched the Mac 128K during the 1984 Super Bowl. So if Motorola wasn't going to have 68881s available for the Mac's launch, then I could definitely see Apple saying, "Well, we're going to move on without them." Okay, Thomas has a 68,000 with the 68881. Okay, what's probably the case of it supports it, but since it wasn't going to be available for the initial Mac launch, I guess Apple probably never put an FPU socket on those early Macs. I'm kind of surprised they didn't maybe put one on the SE. Although then again, maybe that was another thing to differentiate the SE from the Mac 2. Like, if you want an FPU, then you got to use the Mac 2. Mike says it's odd to see a 68881 in an Atari ST. Jeremy says where Apple was being cheap. Well, I think for the initial, like the 128 512K, 128K was probably, it wasn't going to be available. 512K was possibly it's just a derivative of the first board, so it didn't support it. So neither is the derivative. Maybe desktop publishing back in that day was not really a big floating point math user. Because it probably would have been on the first Macs black and white. So maybe with black and white desktop publishing, you can get away with integer math to close approximate. Because it is the other thing. So the 128, 512 Plus, and SE didn't support color. So maybe for black and white desktop publishing, you just get away with close approximation. Like, but then the Mac 2 supports color, so maybe with color desktop publishing, and you might have to interpolate colors, maybe you really kind of need floating point math to make it faster. Jack's asking, what software made use of the FPU in the IBM PC world? Well, I think early on, about the only thing that used it was CAD and some of the spreadsheet software. Thomas says Lotus 123 and some mathematics software. Yeah, it was pretty much. Yeah, early on PC use, you probably safe to say that home users probably didn't need an FPU, and business users, well, they would have bought the FPU for the Lotus and math software users, but for the people just using the WordStar and whatnot, yeah, they didn't need an FPU because WordStar is not going to use an FPU. All right. So now that I have DOS Auto, Thomas says DOS AutoCAD. Woohoo! Yeah, I believe there was a AutoCAD for DOS. I don't know that I would necessarily be jumping for joy at the thought of using it, but it was there. Thomas says, if I remember, DOS AutoCAD came on 50 floppies. So I guess to start AutoCAD, you had to go through like the first set of discs, and then when you added the you added try to add a square or a box to the your AutoCAD drawing, it would tell you to please insert the disc labeled um, with the square, and you'd have to load the software from that disc, and then you draw another square, and it would tell you to please load the software with two overlapping squares so I can load in the part of the code that does overlapping. And obviously, I'm joking because it would have been a hard drive install. And then you draw a circle and it crashes because you've run out of memory to load shape libraries. I would say the early CAD programs were probably would have started to appear in the 286 era when you would have had more than a 640K of conventional memory. Although I guess you could have EMS in a XT machine. Thomas says I had to get a DOS machine running with a real serial port to run old programs. Yeah. Yeah, I saw another one of those oops all ISA motherboards online on eBay, a place where I buy things I later regret. Haven't I didn't fall for it yet. Thomas says, I think CAD was a disk swapping paradise. Mike says, yeah, you aren't doing CAD on an XT, that's for sure. I have PCAD for my PS2 model P70 and it's horribly slow. Thomas says they needed the old program to program a vintage Motorola radio. Ah, all right. So at least I now know how many caps that I will need to order to replace the tantalums, which means I can add up the cost and let my coworker know what the repair cost will be, and then go from there. Oh, oh! I just found another one of these plastic spacers that came from somewhere, and I don't know where it goes. Oh well. I will put it in my spare parts bin for this computer. So if I figure out where it goes, I can put it back. Although it may not really be that important. So we've got the now, Thomas. I inspected the PSU. It doesn't need recap, so I'm not going to attempt to recap it. It looks like IBM used decent caps, so I'm only going to recommend replacing the tantalum caps that are on the CGA card, the floppy controller, and the motherboard. So there are, I think I counted 15 total tantalums on the motherboard, thanks to Mike sending me a diagram so I didn't have to pull the board. And then there are two on the floppy controller, and there are seven on the CGA card. So it'll be a total of 20. 4 tantalum caps, and luckily they're all the same value. So, actually, I can even look up what they will likely cost me, at least for the caps, because obviously I'll make sure I cover shipping in the price I quote. All right, passive components. Capacitors. I'll also these are 10 microfarad. Quite convenient thing that they're all the same size. That means I might actually get to order enough that I can get a quantity break. 10 microfarad, and I'm going to go up to 25 volts. And these are going to be radial. And I want tantalum capacitors. And I want in stock. Ooh, I have plenty to choose from. It looks like there are 59 that meet the requirement. All right. And it looks like I can go with, okay. Ooh, that's not too bad if those are the right lead spacing. 2.5 ohm ESR, I presume is probably fine. Because they're all 2.5 ohm ESR. Oop. All right. Let me check what the ESR of this one is that they don't mention it in the specs. I can read Vishay's data sheet. All right. Ordering information. Is there tolerances? Low leakage current. Oh, I don't think Vishay has an ESR rating for these. Interesting. Well, those are $1.12 at quantity of 10 or more. Let's see if I can find an ESR rating. I don't know if I need low ESR caps or not. The cheapest ones are 2.5 ohms ESR. Cheapest ones also are like 40 cents at 10 or more. Actually, is not bad at all. Uh, oh, Thomas just sent me the Hemet 3 leg. Ah, yes, those are the exact replacements, and they're 329 in quantity 10 or more. Ouch. That's. I think I'm just going to go with a standard 2 leg capacitor. Ah, Thomas does exact restoration on the IBM 5150 in parts, and the ESR is 3.2 ohm. So 2.5 ohm ESR is probably fine because the originals are 3.2 ohm. Okay. Yeah. Uh, my coworker did not ask for an exact restoration, so I can mention those caps, but I will also give them an alternative of a more budget friendly cap. I don't know that they're necessarily looking for a vintage, or I don't think they're necessarily looking for an exact restoration. So I will give them the option. But thanks for sharing that one. So at least I know what the part is, because I could be wrong. I might mention it in the office and might realize that they did want an exact restoration. So I will keep that in mind. But I think they more wanted to just ensure it was going to be enjoyable for a while. Yeah, Thomas says, remember the boards are four thick layers. They can be hard to get out. Yep. I will probably do the um, cut the legs and then remove the pins trick. Although I've seen Epitronics preheat, like do spot preheating of the board with good success. So I'm pretty sure I can get them out. I did get the one out. It was a bit difficult. Although I might also get my desoldering station back up and running before I need to do this. It's I think the heater element's not working. Yeah, Thomas says I use iron and moo machine. Yeah, my moo machine, I need a new I need to replace the heater, but the heaters are not replacement friendly because they send you a replacement heater cartridge and none of the wires are labeled as to what color they go to in the handle itself. So I'm like, that's just a joke. So I need a new handle, but it seems like everyone's out of the handles at the moment, which is not convenient. I'm now regretting not ordering more than one handle last time I saw them in stock. I don't remember how many they had in stock. Yeah, Thomas says yes, the Chinese color code. Yes. I I honestly, when I saw that, kind of thought they did it to make you just buy a new handle. Guess it's like they figured that you'll see the replacement, you'll open one up, you'll realize that there's no instructions and no markings on the replacement heater cartridge's wires, and you're going to get frustrated, and then you'll just buy a new handle, which is a higher profit item. Yeah, I kind of think now they might do that on purpose. Now, why they don't have any handles in stock anywhere is that's that I can't explain. I'm sure there's probably some reason, and Thomas says I did that with a hot air station, drove me nuts. Yep. All right. So I think now that I know what I need to what I'll need to order, and that'll let me finish writing up a repair cost. 'Cause I kind of already decided about what I was going to charge for the repair. It was kind of keeping in mind that I get to have some live stream fun with it, so I was going to, and knowing it so our kids can have some fun with it, I wasn't going to charge like, I don't know. I was thinking somewhere between like, I was kind of just thinking maybe about $40, maybe 60. I don't, because there are a lot of tantalums I got to replace. Because I'm not really like trying to. Well, I mean, given, I mean, I'm not making a. won't be making millions and millions repairing these, but I kind of at least want to make sure I at least value my time somewhat, and the fact that inevitably I'm going to have extra screws somewhere. Okay, somewhere I have managed to forget to reinstall a couple screws. And that is going to now bug me to no end. Oh, there they are. Ah, yes, there we go. That's what I did. I found where they go. Jack says 25 extra for putting all the screws back in the right place. I think, given the number of screws that are in this computer, I might be. I might. It might not be far off. Charging a little bit more just due to the number of screws and the complexity of disassembling it. I think maybe that would be fair. I mean, this is a bit more complex to disassemble than if it was, say, an IBM XT. Pretty sure I'm going to find that I put one of these screws in the wrong place, but well, yeah, there were a couple screws in the bottom of the power supply, and I'm putting those back on now because I suspect having them in will make sure everything's aligned for when I try to get the cover back on. All right, there we go. There's that. Yes, screw surplus is an art. Well, it looks like, at least tonight, I am not going to have a screw surplus, so that is a win. I will take that as a win that it's like I have managed to not do that. Any Apple II clones tonight? Um, well, we'll see what time it is by the time I get this closed up. We might, oh, we might be able to take another look at that clone board I got. I guess it came in last week. I showed it on Wheel of Regrets Tuesday. No, maybe we could take a look at that. We might have enough time that I can that it'll be worth my while to, because I'll have to pull a Apple II. I'll have to pull a power supply out of an Apple II to be able to power it up. I guess there's at least that going for it, that I don't have to go rig up a power supply with a proprietary connector, because it's just using a standard Apple power connector. So, and I'll have to grab a replacement ROM or two. Okay, we'll take a look at the clone board. Why not? All right. So I'm just going to basically, I'm not gonna put the cover back on this time. I figured I would put this back on just because since it's not my computer, the shield will like keep something from falling in it that I don't want to fall inside of it. But I'm not gonna bother putting the cover on it this time around because hopefully I'll get back to working on it again. Oh, Sad Mac, you might have not been. Have I perfected my socket removal technique? Not yet. But actually, no. Oh, I don't know if you saw the board I got last time. So, all right. I think that's back together enough that I won't worry about like accidental dropping of something. And ooh, this is a win. I did not lose any of my Quinn bits tonight. There we go. And yes, the Quinn set worked for taking this thing apart. I mean, other than there was one thing. Okay, there was one thing I did use my quarter inch. No, it wasn't the quarter inch. It was oh yeah, I used my quarter inch socket that I normally keep on my bench. So I did use that for like a couple of the screws because the Quinn set doesn't have that large of a socket in it. Other than that, I used the Quinn set. Um, yeah, I'm hoping to make it to the swap meet, Mike, because actually, I have something for you that I would have brought to VCF East if I'd been able to make it. Mike's now going to go back and cuddle with cats and download mass quantities of adult entertainment. All right. Well, good night, Mike. And yes, I hope to see you in July. If I am able to make it, I'll make sure to bring that box that's got yours and Steve's name on it. So, you might have forgotten what's in it. I might have forgotten exactly what's in it. But it's from Retrotech Chris, and it's got your and Steve's name on it. So I will hopefully be there and be able to give you that box. Whatever's in it, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And actually, knowing it's from Retrotech Chris, I know basically what's in it, but not exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mike knows. I don't remember which model it is, but yeah, we got a laptop for Mike. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side, and I will go get the board I was talking about. All right. So in order to do this, I'm going to need to borrow the power supply from my Apple II. And there's the clone board. All right, let me. All right. And I need to go grab one other thing. I don't remember which pile of boards I put it in. In the meantime, I'm going to take the IBM computer and set it to the back shell and set it to the side. eagle-eyed among you might notice there's two missing ROMs on the board. There we go. Oh. All right. So, last time on Wheel of Regrets, I admitted that I bought this clone Apple II Plus board on eBay, of course, the place where I buy everything I later regret. This clone board was like $50 for parts or repair because it's not working. And it was listed as an Apple IIe clone board, so I knew that was wrong. Yeah, is that rust on those chips? Yeah, there might be some rust on some of these chips. So this may be a worse for wear, but what caught my eye is it looks like the motherboard that's in computer, other than it's not an MCA board, but it has the same layout otherwise because there's the breadboarding areas. And it almost looks the same. But yeah, there is rust on some of those chips, so this may not work as well. And in fact, this socket is like, those are just the pins for the socket. So I am going to make sure there's no shorts. I'm also just going to make sure that these are not potentially touching each other or anything on the board. Okay. So I will check this board for shorts. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do that now. And if nothing's shorted, I will pull the two ROMs off of this Parts 2 Plus board. Because I believe these are just 2 Plus ROMs. It looks like this was one of the clone boards that you would have bought back in the day, and it would have been a install your own Apple ROMs type of clone board, potentially. Or at least that's what it seems to be to me. Because it's got a set of Apple ROMs in it. Now, granted, it is possible these were not originally in this board, but someone put them in later. But it's also possible, given the fact that these are rusty and kind of look, oh, actually, these kind of look rustier than some of the, actually, these ROM chips look like the worst chips, although there are a few that are almost as bad, like this one here, and I saw another one that was kind of looking kind of bad. The processor looks kind of bad. So it's possible someone jammed these in later thinking it might work. But this might have been one of those boards that got around customs by it didn't have any ROMs on it. You had to install your own, and maybe maybe this was bought by someone that had their original Apple board fail. 1.8 ohms on the 12-volt rail. Ooh, there is definitely a short on this board. Yes. All right. I'm glad I didn't plug this in. The 12-volt rail is shorted. It was like point 0.2 ohms. So or 0.3 ohms. So that pretty much is dead short territory. Now, of course, that leads me to ask the question, what on this board is on the 12-volt rail that could be shorted? I mean, I guess there's probably a capacitor that's shorted. Hmm. All right. Bubba's Armstrong says 4116. Well, that is true. These are AMD branded ones. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. I might have done something dumb. Let's try that 12-volt check again. I'm not going to admit to what I set the board down on, and that might have actually been the cause of the short. All right. Oh, no, there is still definitely a short on the 12-volt rail. Okay. So setting the board down on the edge of copper foil tape was not the cause of the short. It might have made the short more of a short, but it was not the entire cause of the short. So, pro tip, when you set your board down on something to insulate it or to keep from scratching your Apple II Plus case, don't just jam it on top of the roll of tape that your brain hasn't yet processed as copper foil tape. All right. All right. So I guess I will pull all of the 4116s because I have votes from Jack and or a vote from Thomas that it's 4116. Because yeah, that was what I was thinking was about the only use of 12 volt on this board was the RAM chips. Except maybe the op amp in the cassette circuit might also use 12 volts. Because I think the cassette port on the T64 supplies 9 volts, although maybe that's because it's actually powering the data set. I'll pull up a troubleshooting guide at some point. One of these days I will break down and get a Chip Tester Pro. That would make testing these fairly easy. All right. Thomas says 12 volts is mostly on the RAM and the expansion sockets. All right, I will check the expansion sockets on this board. I looked at them when I first got it, and I didn't see any obvious signs of shorting. But obviously, if removing the RAMs didn't fix it. All right, well, if there was a shorted RAM chip, then I'm okay. If it's still shorted after I took those RAMs out, then I'm going to have to probably clip. I'm probably going to have to remove these pins and check again. Hi, Bruce. Welcome. Yeah, we still have a short. All right, so it was not the RAM chips. There is still a short on the board. So I think I need to remove these ROM chips don't have 12 volts on them, do they? All right, let's do this a little more educated. Like, for example, let me pull up a pinout of the 4116 chip. So I can see which pin is 12 volts. Oh, yippee. We have VBB, VDD, VCC, and VSS. All right, would someone please give me the pinout? Ah, okay. So VBB is negative 5 volts. VDD is positive 12 volts. VCC is plus 5 volts. And yep, and VSS is ground. All right, so pin 8 is plus 12 volts. So pin 8 is, I think I might now know why this is, this socket is broken. So pin 8 is this one here. And that's 0.2 ohms. Okay. I bet someone started to try to find a short on this board. That probably explains the sloppy flux. There's like flux and blobby solder. Someone's reworked this board. I wonder if it's like there's a solder blob on one of these capacitors where someone attempted to reflow a bunch of these joints, and I bet they've created a solder bridge in the process. Because these pins here are all, even though they are sticking out because this plastic's broken, they are not touching each other. Although, given my, ooh, might be onto something here. I just noticed that I'm seeing a slight drop in resistance as I go this direction. Because the resistance between 12 volts and ground here is 0.2 ohms. Oh, it's 0.1 ohms there. 0.1, oh, 0.1 ohms. Wait, is it 0.1 ohms everywhere now? Because I might have bumped something. Yeah, it's 0.1 ohms everywhere. I bet I bumped something and it's now more of a short. All right. Oh yeah, someone has reflowed some of these memory sockets. Yes, definitely. There's been some reflowing. There are some quite awful reflow solder joints. I bet the problem is not the RAM modules per se, but one of these reflowed solder joints in the RAM area might be the culprit. Let's see how far I can zoom in. So I noticed this lovely this lovely gem of a solder blob here. Although I believe that is actually not the right pin. But that solder joint, that's definitely been reflowed. They're nice. The bridge is easy to see. Yes. I may have to clean this board just to. I may have to clean this board just to be able to see the solder bridge because I think we're looking for a solder bridge. Because unfortunately, the flux that's still on the bottom of this board is making it hard to see if there's a solder bridge. Yeah, pin 8 is the 12-volt pin. There's like a bunch of flux on the power, the slots. Someone's gone through this thing and reflowed a bunch. But the flux is so shiny, I would have a tough time seeing a little solder bridge. So I may have to put this through the ultrasonic cleaner just to get that flux off the board to make it easier to see us and the dust that's on the bottom of the board to make it easier to see a potential solder strand between 12 volts and ground. All right, what is that? All right, let's. They use plumber's flux. I don't know what they use, Thomas. It certainly does not look like any flux I would have used on a PCB. That's not to say that it's the wrong flux. Ooh, there's. Okay, I don't know that that's a short, but that might actually be a. Oh, that may just be solder mask damage. Okay. I probably should. Now, actually, if I ultrasonically clean this board, uh, anything I put on the bottom of this board to remind myself is just going to come off in the wash. Yeah, I don't know what kind of flux that is because I don't I didn't think rosin flux would do that. Whatever flux it was, it that's the power connector, and I actually tried to clean that off with isopropyl alcohol, and it wouldn't come off. I probably will have to put this through the ultrasonic cleaner. Let's see, what time is it? It's 11:20, 11:28. All right, let's do something here. I know I don't have the ultrasonic cleaner preheated. but I just want to see something. I'm going to throw the board in bottom side down for like 10 minutes or so. And let's see if whatever that flux is starts to come off. It probably will take longer than 10 minutes, but at least we should see a difference. Because actually, I think getting that off is going to be the first step in repairing the board. Actually, that flux could be conductive. Okay. Yeah. Anyone? Oh, there's that. I was looking for a plastic piece I couldn't find. All right. Well, I guess while we wait for the ultrasonic cleaner to kick off. Yes, this is our sus power supply. Um, let's take this power supply out, and because Gutbomb did send me a roll of copper foil tape so I could make a custom mod on it. A custom mod to patch a custom mod, if you will. There's also a reason why there was a Squawker sticker sitting on top of this. So you might remember this power supply here, only because it's kind of hard to forget once you've seen it. It has the hole in the bottom where the previous owner had a voltage, like one of those little voltage dividers. So fortunately for this mod, I don't have to pull the board out of the power supply, but I am going to have to make a tactical trim to the Squawker sticker, I believe, because the hole is like slightly larger than Squawker's. And believe me, Squawkers thinks this is totally sus. Alright, so I think I need to cut the sticker right about... We'll use the power supply lid as a straight edge. If I get this close, it's good. Oh, I finished what I needed to do to the IBM Portable Personal Computer. So I got asked if I had any Apple II stuff to work on, to which I pulled out the Apple II clone board from Wheel of Regrets last episode. Discovered a short on that board, and it's currently in the ultrasonic cleaner to see if cleaning some weird flux off of it gets rid of the short. There's ceiling cat, and there's power supply squawkers. Where's Garth when you need him to see the awesome way that you're putting a squawker sticker to good use? So I do have to thank Gut Bomb for sending me some copper foil tape so that I didn't have to buy a whole roll for covering a small hole. Whoops. Alright, let's see what that does. Yeah, that'll make a good video thumbnail. And I just wanted to have something behind the sticker that was... There we go. Yeah, a whole roll, yes. Where's Trina for this? Well, Trina posted she wasn't feeling well because she was going to stream before me, and she apparently wasn't feeling well, so... I know, the thought that I almost bought a whole roll of foil tape just to cover a small hole, because let's just say that this stuff was priced at Lowe's as if you were an HVAC professional. And the extent of my HVAC abilities is like replacing the thermostat, because, well, the rest of it, I'll pretty much let someone that knows what they're doing work on it, but there we go. The power supply squawkers. Put a little more. Little more foil tape. One more spot to make sure the sticker doesn't come like out of place, because that would just ruin the whole effect of a squawkers on the power supply. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, battery changed on the thermostat. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I'm okay with doing, but my current thermostats they don't have batteries as far as I know. I think they have their settings stored in like a non-volatile memory or something like that. There we go. There we go. A totally normal power supply. Yeah, she had planned to stream. I think she was going to look at some Apple laptops. So, so hopefully she'll reschedule that, and we can all tune in and watch her work on some laptops. Yes, Kapam, I put your foil tape to good use. Oh, she's missing. Yeah, yes, she's missing the joke opportunities. Yeah, yeah, you can't miss the sus. I mean, there we go. Had to do something for that hole. So there we go. All right, I'm gonna Discord messages. Star camera. All right. Okay, I just sent Garth a picture of my latest creation. After all, his sticker gave me the inspiration. Yeah, totally normal. And yes, why is there a Squawker sticker on the top? Well, that's covering where someone scratched into it. Power supply. So you can't say I didn't warn you when you flip it over and find a parrot staring back at you. Also, whoever put that hole there, obviously, under no circumstances is this case to be opened. Yeah. Notify Apple Computer or your dealer for prompt service. Oh, I should have notified Apple Computer. Oh, well. All right. The ultrasonic cleaner did kick off, so I'm going to go pull the board out after I deal with the copper foil tape. Paper. Yeah, warranty void if sus sticker removed. Yes, exactly. Yes, if someone were to ever steal this computer and I see that power supply on eBay, I have this live stream to show that it was mine May 30th, 2024 at 11:42 p.m. If I was actually going to let the board dry, I would have rinsed it more. I at least wanted to get the foam off the board because it's the ultrasonic cleaner solution. When you pull the board out of the when you pull the board out, it kind of likes to foam up. All right, so it looks like with another 10 minutes on this side, I think it would have gotten the rest because the rest of the flux, whatever that flux was, because it looks like most of it's off, cleaned by incineration. That ultraphotonic cleaner. You weren't being serious. Yeah, ultraphotonic. Yeah, I believe the ultraphotonic cleaner would have taken care of the problem with this board. As one of my former coworkers who had a farm would put it, it fixed in the veterinary sense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure an ultraphotonic cleaner would incinerate the board, and therefore it would be fixed by it would be fixed in the veterinary sense. In other words, why I try to usually use a different word other than fixed, like repaired. You can always count on a farmer to correct you or point out things you wouldn't have other. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of solder on those pins. Yes, it does. Some more than others. There's also some mystery gunk left over after I put it through the ultrasonic cleaner. So that's why I took some isopropyl alcohol to like try to remove the mystery gunk. I actually, oh no, I think that's intentional. All right, let's take a look at what was under that flux and see if we see anything obvious. I think I'm probably going to have to clean this a little bit more, try to get all the flux off because I don't think I want to try to repair the board with whatever that flux was still on it. Yeah, hopefully it's not conductive mystery gunk. It would also help to know which pin 12 is on these. Which pin 12 volts is on these. I think I see ground. Ground is going to be this one here on the corner. But I don't necessarily know right offhand which one 12 volts is. Because I think 12 volts is actually routed on the front side of the board. Okay, so I think 12 volts is one of the end pins, but I don't know which one. And there was one of these. I sure thought I saw something up with. Connect one multimeter, lead to 12 volts, and yeah, sweep the other pin. Okay, so I think 12 volts is this one. All right, let me see if that short is still present. Okay, so the mat that I have this setting down on is not conductive, but the board is like, okay. Okay, the board is longer than the mat, but it looks like as long as I don't press down on the one end of the board, it looks like I shouldn't have to worry about shorts. Okay, so it does seem as if 12 volts is still shorted. I honestly didn't think cleaning it would fix that. Okay, so now I know which pin is 12 volts on the expansion slots. It's going to be um trying to find where. There we go. That's this pin on each of the expansion slots. Oh, I don't think there's a short. The thing is, the next pin over is not ground, so I don't think it's ground. Okay, so our short between 12 volts and ground is not happening through the next. It's not happening through the next pin. So it's not on the expansion slots. At least it's not on the expansion slots going between 12 volts and. Wait a minute. That, oh, that's a ground pin. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, I did not just find a mystery source of the short. Okay, so I don't think. Oh, hi, John. Um. Oh, we're not looking at the 5160. I finished looking at that tonight. We're looking at an Apple II clone board, which usually don't have tantalum capacitors, because the Apple II didn't use tantalums. Okay, the board just came out of my ultrasonic cleaner, so that's why there looks like there's water and soap down in the expansion slots. But I don't think that should be causing any extra ability to short because it is distilled water. I don't think there's enough mineral content to like add to the short. I'm wondering if one of these capacitors is shorted. I know I said that normally these don't have tantalum capacitors on it, but these certainly are. I mean, I know the shape is not necessarily indicative that it's a tantalum, because I've seen ceramic caps look exactly like that. However, that being said, these have a polarity stripe, which changes things because ceramic caps are non-polar, and that is quite blurrily. There we go. That is quite clearly, although not zoomed in enough for me to confirm, but is this like the Apple II clone that is actually using tantalum capacitors for quality? And mind you, I QUALTEE quality. Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a polarized cap. Are they put in the correct way? Well, I don't know. I don't know, Thomas. I don't know if they're put in the correct way. I thought all these boards had. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did someone go through this board and replace every single ceramic cap with a tantalum? Why does the scope camera sound like it's sizzling? I don't know. I don't know why it sounds like it's sizzling. Maybe it's sizzling out of respect of the fact that I think someone went through and replaced every last ceramic capacitor on this board with a tantalum and jammed them in, because there are absolutely no polarity markings on any of these capacitor pads. I think I found the source of our problem on this board. I bet if I start removing tantalum capacitors, I bet the short goes away at some point. Because I bet that's the source. I didn't realize those were tantalums at first. I thought they were just like, okay, they're ceramic caps and they're made to look like tantalums to make the board look more expensive. Because I've seen boards use kind of roundish shaped tantalum or roundish shaped ceramic caps just to make the thing look more expensive. And PC Chips, I think, did that on some of their boards. But I I thought, wait, I just also realized there's a capacitor that's like super bent. I wonder if the hmm. Yeah, this capacitor was bent over and I didn't realize it, so I'm going to check to see if the short has gone away. Yes, I know there's a socket missing its plastic, but none of those pins are touching right now. All right, let's see if our mystery short went away. Still, I'm kind of thinking that those tantalums are a liability, not an asset. No, that wasn't it. There's still a shorted cap on here somewhere. All right, here we go. Theory time. It's a shorted tantalum. Oh, we don't have much time for this theory. Although I might actually have ceramic caps somewhere. All right, so I may have just found the shorted cap. So here's what I'm going to do, because I think someone has like put completely the wrong caps on this board, and I'm probably going to have to replace them all. All right. Oh, there we go. I snipped one leg of that cap, and it just completely came off the board. It was measuring a short. I wonder if that leg was broken. And oh, there's still a short on the board. This one wasn't. This one, I don't think this cap was actually shorted, but it was broken. Okay, it was broken, but not. It wasn't shorted, but it was broken. Okay, there's 200 and. Okay, that's pretty high resistance. Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up replacing all these tantalums back with ceramics, because I think that's what this board was designed for. Because these are all just um, none of these are acting as a bulk capacitor. Oops, there's another tantalum. that has the world's worst solder job on it. It is on the 12-volt rail. That's measuring 40 ohms. Ooh, there's another broken tantalum capacitor. Okay. Thomas says, very strange apple. I guess it had to be an orange. I don't know, but I think I know what I need to do to this board. I think the best course of action on this board is to probably remove all of the tantalum capacitors. Because I'm looking at the Apple board it's a clone of. And I am fairly certain that all the capacitors that are tantalums are ceramics on the source board. Because I do not see polarity markings on what would have been the original caps. There's an Apple II Plus board, and those are all ceramics. And yet on the clone, I think someone went through and replaced them with all tantalums, possibly because they had them on hand. I don't know if that's because they thought they were fixing a problem or if they ended up causing a problem by fixing their problem. But yeah, it would appear as if they went through and put tantalums where Apple put ceramics. Also, I'm noticing that the clone manufacturers omitted a couple of axial electrolytics. Yeah. The tantalum capacitor fest tonight. Yes. So next time I have this board on the bench, I am just going to remove all the tantalum caps. That's pretty much it. In fact, I'm not going to even put it. I'm not going to put it through the ultrasonic cleaner anymore tonight because actually there's probably no use of me doing that. Because I'll probably just replace the caps and then ultrasonically clean it. Although, or well, I may finish ultrasonic clean it. I'll decide. I don't know. I might ultrasonic clean it just to get the last remainder of that awful flux off the board. It does look like I'm probably going to need to actually properly rinse it because the solution has left a deposit on the board. So actually, I probably will at least give it another rinse tonight. I'll let it air dry since I'm not going to power it up tonight. But I will at least give it another water rinse to try to get a little more of that solution off the board. Jack says, I wonder if the short existed before replacing the caps. I don't know. The one thing is, though, I think the only way I'll figure that out is when I remove the caps, because if these if this really is a case that tantalums replaced ceramics, then it is quite possible that if they powered this board up, that multiples of these tantalums shorted. So that it could be that they caused the problem because a bunch of these tantalums did not like being put in backwards. Because I can't tell if they put them in right or not because there's no polarity markings on the original sockets. Not to say that someone didn't do a really good job of researching the way they put them in, but that's also not to say that they got their guess right. But quite clearly, all of these caps have polarity markings, but the board does not. So I think I probably will start by removing them And I think I do actually have some point oh 0.01 microfarad ceramics. So maybe, Jack says, I wonder what the reason was for replacing them all. That I do not know. But considering that the solder job on those tantalums looks awful, much worse than the solder jobs on some of these sockets, I think whoever had this board might have gone through to try to recap it. Maybe because someone told them, oh, recapping will fix everything. Yeah, I would think, yeah, Jack, I'm with you there. You would think the person was trying to fix a problem. They probably were trying to fix a problem. Unfortunately, I don't know what that problem was. But, anyways, yeah, I'm going to rinse this board a little better. But, yeah, I don't know. But it seems like they might have caused another problem, fixing a problem. Or it's possible I will remove all these tantalums and the board will still be shorted. And I might end up having to remove chips to find the short, because it is quite possible that if they reflowed any of these RAM sockets, because it does look like they might have done that, if they got too much solder, it's possible that the short is underneath one of these RAM sockets on the top side of the board, and I might not find it until I remove the sockets. And maybe this is the board I practice with before I start removing sockets on computer more. But I think I might now know what I'm going to work on at least one of the two nights next week. Ooh, because I need to remove caps, and if I've got the replacement caps on hand, then this board might be on the bench on Tuesday. However, I there is a pickup. I'm waiting for my friend to let me know he's got it ready for me. So if that happens, then that might, well, yeah, I could also do it on Dave's stream too. We'll see. We'll see. If I've got a friend that's got some more stuff for me, so if I if he's ready for me to pick it up, that might be the other stream next week. I'm going to keep it a secret as to what it might be, so for the suspense, because actually I'm not entirely sure what it all is. I know what category it is, but and no, it's not DVDs. So, no. I know what category it is, I just don't remember exactly what it is and if I've seen it all before. So, we'll, stay tuned for that. It will definitely be a stream when I get that to, take a look at what I actually have, because that will bring some fun to the channel in the future. But for now, I've got the parts list I need for the 5155, so now I just have to figure out which capacitors I wanna go with, and I've got the 2 options, so I can do here's the exact refit, and then here's these'll work option, and I'll have to decide how much I wanna charge based on kinda how troublesome a 5155 is to disassemble and reassemble. They are kinda painful, so I may have to I mean, leaning towards upping the charge a little bit from what I might normally charge, just because they're a bit troublesome to disassemble and reassemble, but I'll ponder that. I've got the weekend to ponder that, I believe. So, anyways, thank you for joining me. So don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss the conclusions to the portable PC, to this clone board that I picked up on eBay, or potentially even the Squawkers Edition power supply. Steve Jobs rare. Yeah. Yeah, the pain in the rear surcharge, yes. So, yeah, and, think with that, because, yep, we are definitely past the time when, I like to wrap the stream up, and given the fact that I'm going to have to remove a bunch of capacitors and not tonight, because I'm going to try to locate my point oh 0.01 microfarad ceramics before I. That's the other thing. I know I've got some. I know I ordered some when I was working on the Franklin Ace 1000 because I thought there was a shorted ceramic or something on that board, and I remember ordering some just in case. It turned out it wasn't. I don't think it was the ceramic cap. It was something else nearby, but I think I ended up replacing the cap because I broke the original one. But I think I remember ordering a whole bunch of them because they're like dirt cheap in. They're like cheap in quantity 1, but they're dirt cheap in quantity 100, and it's pretty much worth your while to just order 100. So I'm pretty sure I've got a bag of them, and they should work on this board too. So, anyways, stay tuned. More exciting live streams upcoming. And thanks again for the super chats from Jesse and Dave, and the coffee tips from, I think it was Jack. And I apologize if my memory is bad on all of them because I have a short queue depth. And Will, yes, I knew there was one other. So thank you for those. With that, have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you here next time. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.